And welcome to the latest Field Hockey with Hatfield episode. We've got a jam-packed edition for you here on this beautiful Wednesday where we talk to you from the Plex. And on this Wednesday episode on the Plex, I should say, or at the Plex, we have a couple of special guests that will be joining the show. As far as interview guests go, we'll be talking with the head coach of the Landstown Eagles in Dianna Blair, whose team got themselves a nice victory over Tallwood on Tuesday at the Regional Training Center. Plus, we'll be catching up with Isabel Pardo in just a little bit from reigning 5-time State Champion Cox, the Falcons, winning it rather comfortably in their game on Tuesday over the opponent that they took on, and that was the Bayside Marlins, who came in without a blemish on the season, but Cox got it done rather comfortably in that game. So it is Field Hockey with Hatfield. As always, we want you to interact with us on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to that. We have stream broadcasts for you all the time there from the training center as well as from the Sportsplex when it comes to football, soccer, lacrosse, you name it. All kinds of great things happening at the Plex and at the training center. Plus, make sure you share it on Instagram, on X, once known as Twitter, and all the social pages. We'll be also debuting the first Giardino Ristorante Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week. And for each week, Chicken Parm from Giardino goes to the recipient of that award. So you want to get that honor if you're a standout player across the 757. We want to salute you with that. Each week we do in our On the Hash with Hatfield Football podcast. We have the Chicho's Pizza Player of the Week, where a Chicho's Pizza goes out to them. So big thanks to Giardino. We'll tell you more about them as we debut and reveal that later on here in the program. So let's go through some of the scores. As you see, earlier this week, Tallwood got a nice victory over Deep Creek. They did come up on the short end of things on Tuesday against the Landstown Eagles. York getting in the win column of Percosa, and we'll see if that puts them in our top 10 as we update the top 10 rankings later on here in the episode. Big win for Cox. I think the major game that really jumped at us from Tuesday was Norfolk Academy taking down Nansman River 6-0. The Warriors have been having a great year, but another big performance from Joji Purdy, her third hat trick of the year. We'll see if she's the honoree for the Player of the Week. She's probably going to get one in the future, if not this week. She's been just dominating, as has Brooke Betancourt for Mary Werkheiser's Norfolk Academy squad, which is now ranked in the top 5 in America. Max Field Hockey has them number 3 in the country, but some big games coming up. In fact, they're going to be taking on the Cox Falcons very, very soon. So that will be one to circle on the docket as far as matchups to go see, as we're starting to get some out-of-district games to go with the in-district flavor for the teams in the Beach, the Eastern, the Southeastern, the Peninsula, the Bay Rivers, and even the private schools. Overtime game on Tuesday with Kempsville edging Ocean Lakes 3-2. So the Chiefs bounced back from the loss they had last week against Kellum. Lily Krikorian with a hat trick for Menchville as they got it done on Tuesday over Kickingham, a team that looks to be on the rise in the Peninsula District. Another private school girl with a hat trick. You see Joji Purdy had her third of the season on Tuesday, but Johnny Rolinick, big shout out to her with 3 goals as the Oaks of Norfolk Collegiate, a program we haven't talked a whole lot about. Got it done shutting out Northumberland. Tab staying really hot as Wendy Wilson's got one of the best programs year in and year out when it comes to field hockey across the 757. Well, we did catch up with one of the standouts for the Cox Falcons. They have so many good players. Watching them and getting a chance to call their game for Coach Taylor Roundtree, who had to dash off real quickly to Kellum for a JV game. You see why Cox is so successful. It's no time to break. They go straight from varsity to JV. They stay on the run year-round, does that program over there. And going back to the days of Nancy Folks, when Roundtree was on a state championship run where they won 7 consecutive state titles as a player. They have so many records in the VHSL record book, and this team is no slouch once again. Sophia Birch, who last year had 15 goals, 11 assists. She's a big-time player. So is the Dartmouth-bound Megan Spear, who had 24 goals, 23 assists a season ago. Birch and Spear were first-team All-State performers, and they have more than just those two. Mac Dare had the first goal for them. Joey Savino had 3 or 4 goals in this game. Irma Bailey's very, very good. We remember the name Zella Bailey a couple years back, who went to The Ohio State University, and they have a really good goalkeeper who last year was on point for them as they won that 5th consecutive state championship. And we're talking about Isabel Pardo, and we got a chance to catch up with her after the win and get a thought on how the team is doing her transition from last season to now here as a junior, and that matchup coming up in a week on the road in Norfolk. Here's what Isabel Pardo told us at the RTC, as it is Hatfield Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex. I'm here with the standout goalie for the Cox Falcons. She's a junior, Isabel Pardo, after they defeat the Bayside Marlins 10-0 to move to 3-0 on the season. Isabel, last year's team won their 5th consecutive state championship. You had 13 shutouts, I think just 7 goals allowed. It's business as usual for you all here at Cox. How's it going so far from sophomore year to junior season?
I think it's going great. Like, we're doing our best, and I think like right now we're playing our best and we're playing as a team. And I think like this season's gonna be different. We had a lot of changes, but I think we're doing great, and as if like we're together as a family, and I think we have a great season.
Growing up, I imagine you envisioned yourself playing at Cox, and you know about the history of 24 state championships, the last 5 in a row. It's one of the best programs in the entire country. What is it about Cox Field Hockey that's different than other schools in the area, the state, nationwide, and what is it that Coach Roundtree demands and expects out of you all?
I think we all play our best, and like we always give 100%. I think this program, like we know, like we expect to do our best always in every game. And Coach Roundtree, like, is one of the greatest like coaches we have ever had, and she always teaches us to like improve every game. And I think we always like look to not only win but improve.
How do you not get bored when you're winning games by 6, 7, 8, 9 goals? And for you back there as the goalie, you don't see a lot of action sometimes in games like this where you're dominating. But how do you keep the focus and maintain that level of dominance the way you all have?
I think like I just keep communicating. I think it's important to like stay in the game, even though when you're winning, it's so important to keep playing your best. And even though when you're winning by much, you need to try like new things and still play like it was 0-0.
How much is it the off-season conditioning and preparation, events playing throughout the year, and just your practices get you ready for the games where it's almost secondary? Because I hear that with other athletes, be it softball, baseball, football, basketball, the sport, whatever it might be, soccer. They sort of sense that's a big reason for the success is that when it gets to game time, it's pretty much like this is second nature in a way.
Yeah, I think like a couple months before we started season, we were already conditioning. We always try to do our hardest, like in practice and in games. So practice we're always trying to push ourselves like forward, and it's just like we practice, we do our best, and if we do something wrong, we improve it next time.
Now, you're the second straight Beach District athlete I've interviewed here for the podcast that's going to Liberty. I talked to Melina Magnano last week from Kellam. I imagine you know her. What is it about the Flames that appealed to you, and what do they like about your skills?
I love the Flames. It's a really good school. The staff there is incredible. Like, I love their team. I love the college. It's a really nice like environment there, and not even the team is one of the greatest in the country. It's also like it feels like a family when you go there, and also Christian. So like you thank God for everything you do, and yeah, I know Melina.
Sure. So I imagine a lot of the piece away from the sport also appealed to you for Liberty. What do they like about your game as far as the field hockey player goes?
I know. I think I always give my best every game. I'm good at communicating, and I don't know. I don't know what's like especially good about me, but I feel like I'm always there to give my best and 100%, and that's what a goalie needs.
Hey, it sounds like you got the savvy to work ethic. Last one, I appreciate your time here. I know you got some Beach District opponents still on deck, and it's about getting a state championship again, taking it one game at a time. But I know on the schedule coming up in about 8 or 9 days, you play Norfolk Academy. How excited are you for that matchup? Kind of the top public, top private around to kind of show who maybe is the #1 team in the area, and dare we say the state, if you will.
I'm excited. Like, it's always a really demanding game. We always try to do our best, and no matter like what the score, it's a really exciting game because it's like I said, it's a demanding game, and both teams are really good. We do our best, and we always push ourselves forwards in that game. So it's really exciting to like look forward to that.
Well, come check out the Liberty commit Isabel Pardo and the Cox Falcons on their quest for their state championship. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you.
All right, had to hit the unmute button as we were back here. That was Isabel Pardo, the Liberty commit, doing just an outstanding job in goal. Didn't have any shots thrown her way, and she was just on point. And so far, this Cox team has been very, very sharp this season. Irma Bailey and Joey Savino, each with hat tricks in that game. And you look at what they're doing, they are just hard to deal with year in and year out. As you look at the upcoming games for the Falcons here on the schedule, we had that game with Norfolk Academy coming up on September 27th. It's on the road at 4:30 p.m., but they have before that Ocean Lakes on the 21st of September, 26th is Salem, 28th, after the Norfolk Academy game, is Tallwood. They actually play 3 games in 3 days before they take on Landstown in October. First Colonial is one that's always circled October the 10th, October 12th with Kempsville, October 17th with Kellam as far as in the district goes. But it looks like they're just as good as advertised as they have been for many, many years. Cox has a team that can win the Class 5 title. I know there's some new challengers potentially lurking out there, with Gloucester off to a very nice start. You have Nansman River, who's had a great year, Great Bridge, some of the teams across the 757. But I think that big battle, people look forward to it, public versus private, to see who is the very best, as they're both nationally ranked, recognized programs over there with Taylor Roundtree's Falcons at Cox and Mary Werkheiser's Norfolk Academy group. The Bulldogs have plenty of bite. So this Cox team doesn't look like they have any weaknesses right now. We'll see if a team as good as Norfolk Academy can maybe show an area that you can be exploited against them, but it's hard to envision that right now with what they have shown here in the early going of this season. And of course, you want teams to not peak or reach its max in, late September, early October when it comes to the fall sports, like you have with field hockey, like you have with volleyball, like you have with football. You want to be playing your best on that trajectory upward as you near the playoffs. And this year for field hockey, again, some dates to just circle and mark down as far as the VHSL goes. A little bit different for the VISAA, and we'll probably effort getting maybe Coach Mary Werkheiser on next week's episode of the podcast. But as far as dates to know for all you field hockey aficionados and diehard fans out there, the regionals are set to start October 25th, which is going to be here in just a little more than a month. The regional deadline, which means it has to be done by then, is November the 4th. The VHSL state quarterfinals, November the 7th. November 10th and 11th are the championships, which is different than what you have for football. Football is probably in its first round of the playoffs right around that same time, as they get to regional finals come Thanksgiving weekend. They get to state finals in December. State semis is usually that first weekend in December. But as far as the field hockey goes, the championship games are going to be at Kellam High School, semifinals at Ocean Lakes and Kellam. Local sites will have your state quarterfinals coming up in November. So should be a fun time as we get closer and closer to see the separation from the pretenders and the contenders, if you will, when it comes to field hockey in the 757 and beyond. And I want to get this out there too. We're not just going to cater to only the 757 as far as if you have a storyline, a player, a team, someone you think we should highlight, drop us a note, a comment, send us a message, reach out to us. We'll certainly highlight if there's a worthy story out there, somebody across the state of Virginia. It can be outside of the Tidewater area. Certainly that's where we're based in, and we're going to certainly focus on a lot of that here with field hockey with Hatfield from the RTC, the Regional Training Center, and the Sportsplex, which you see in my background. But if there's something worthy that should grab our attention, we'll certainly try to highlight it and give it the coverage it properly deserves, because as we get closer and closer to state time, there's going to be teams from the 757 playing teams from outside Hampton Roads, and it might be in Hampton Roads, but you want to educate the audience about those teams and players, just like I'm sure those fans out there want to learn more about players and teams from around here in the 757 area code. All right, we're going to take a time out and hear from a couple of our sponsors, beginning with AstroTurf, and then we'll be back and be catching up with Dianna Blair of the Landstown Eagles. Around the Bend is also our latest top 10 rankings, plus the first Il Giardino Ristorante Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week. Will it be someone from the public school scene, the private school scene, the Eastern, the Southeastern, the Peninsula, the Bay Rivers? You got to stay tuned for all that. Let's hear from AstroTurf, though.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall!
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back!
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it! Peak fall achieved! DQ, happy tastes good.
All right, we're back. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex and the Regional Training Center, which always has some must-see matchups for all of you to check out on a weekly basis. Again, keep it tuned to our Virginia Beach Sports Plex YouTube channel where you subscribe to that. You'll get notifications and updates when we go live with any of our podcasts, whether it be Field Hockey with Hatfield on the Hash with Hatfield, our football one. We're doing the Field Hockey one right now on Wednesdays. We're going to try to shift it over to Mondays as we move along here in the next couple of weeks. The football one drops your way on Thursdays, and then our 757 Saturday Sports Talk with yours truly, Matt Hatfield, and the coach, Ed Young, from the Plex every Saturdays, coming your way from about 10 a.m. to about 11:30, 12 p.m. to get you set for the college football Saturday kickoffs with all that good stuff. And, of course, we also stream Atlantic Shores football, Virginia Beach Mustangs football, so many great things with the folks from Hometown Sports Productions. All right, we caught up with not only Isabel from Cox, the goalie, Isabel Pardo, who's going to Liberty. You heard from her, going to be a teammate of Molino Magnano, who's a beach rival right now from Kellum, who was on last week's episode. And if you missed any of last week's shows, you can just go search for it on our YouTube channel and find it. We'll have links up to all the podcasts, probably in order very soon with our great hardworking team behind the scenes. We also caught up with another Beach District individual, and it's from the coaching side of things. And in their sixth year at the helm, they had a 5-game losing skid coming in. It was scoreless at the break, not looking too hot, but the Landstown Eagles were very jubilant after they blinked the Tallwood Lions 2-0. And here's what Coach Dianna Blair told us about her team. A lot of youngsters to watch out for in the future. Let's catch up on that conversation now. All right, I'm here with Landstown Field Hockey coach Dianna Blair. Her team winning it 2-0 over the Tallwood Lions, and a very satisfying win for your squad, coach. I heard your comment to your team. You're really impressed with the passing and the spin-outs, and just tell me about this battle because it was 0-0 at the half, but you seized control and played really well in the second half.
Yeah, we had some rough shots in the beginning that didn't go in, that we missed the post, or it happens. So sometimes we're unlucky, but this was a good win for them. They needed that boost. We've had a little rough start of the season, so I think this is really good for them. We got 2 more games this week, so we're excited. We have a young team. We only have 1 senior and 1 junior, so and we only have varsity, so we were unable to put a JV team together. But I'm really excited for what the future holds for these young ladies.
And the Beach District can be unforgiving because you have a program in Cox that's won 5 consecutive state championships. Yes. We know how good First Colonial is. Yes. Kellum, you're now the only Class 6 school in the Beach because I believe Kellum and Ocean Lakes moved down to Class 5. But with just 1 senior, how excited are you for the freshmen, the sophomores, the juniors to get their feet wet and get confidence, a boost with a win like this today?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, this was huge. Especially one of my girls is I told her, I said, get out of your head today. And she did, and she got a goal finally because she's been trying so hard to score this season. And, you give them a little boost, you give them a little goal to try to master during the game. And a lot of them did that, and I'm so proud of them. And, I've been with them 6 seasons. And I just stepped up as the lacrosse coach last season, so I try to keep them together year-round. So we're excited to see big things for Landstown.
What's that like to balancing act, multiple sports and in multi-year athletes, playing multiple sports all year long now? It feels like it's different than, I imagine, when you first started coaching. Now, ever since the COVID a couple of years ago, I've heard a lot of coaches comment to me, and we had Scotty Tyson, Benny Schleicher on the podcast a couple weeks back about the COVID year, a lot of programs still trying to catch up, and you mentioned it affecting JV a little bit.
Yeah, we are. And the hard thing is, in the Virginia Beach school, it's fantastic. We have academies, but it's really hard because you never know who you're going to get, from the middle schools and where they're going to go or what academies they're going to go to. And a lot of these girls play club. A lot of my girls haven't really picked up on that yet, and that's okay. We'll just work a little bit harder in practice. But it's good because a lot of these girls do multiple sports. I think it's a good thing for them to do multiple sports to kind of free up their mind using different muscles, techniques, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah. And I'm 100% on board with my girls who want to do multiple things. As long as they can balance in the classroom first and be a student, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Keep the academics before the athletics. Yes. And if it's spring, winter, fall, stay active. Let's highlight a few of those names for if you can, whether they're standouts now or you can see them down the road becoming that. Who are some players that are contributing significantly to your success?
Oh, gosh. Morgan Stapleton, Reagan Seacrest, Veronica Nixon, Abby Hinkerson, Sam Bendeley, Mackenzie Bendeley, sisters. That's probably, Emily Yates. They all are. They're all stepping up. And I'm the type of coach, you got to be a universal player. You got to play. If I got to put you in goalie pads one game, then that's where I'm going to put you. And that's why I like to teach the girls.
So versatility matters, whether you're playing forward, defending.
All day long. Absolutely. And I think that's what makes them strong.
A couple more for you. What do you think right now is a strong suit of this team and is something that you're consciously working on to improve as you go through the teeth of this district and then get ready for playoff time?
It's building confidence. It's building that confidence. It doesn't matter who you play. You don't need to think about who you play. All these girls have similar techniques. A lot of them have a little more advanced because of, how much they play. But overall, I think you got to build that confidence. And once you build that confidence, you build that team morale and get them to trust each other. Mm-hmm. And once you can build that trust, then I think everything just kind of falls in place for you.
And lastly, as you look at the district big picture, like I mentioned, there's a lot of really good teams. We know how dominant Cox has been. So many years going back to when Nancy Folks was there. First Colonial, they had some coaching changes. They're still a top team. Kellum, what's kind of your overview of the district? What's going to take for your team to be, kind of surprising people come playoff time in November?
I think just us staying consistent, injury-free would be nice. We've had some injuries. We've had a concussion already. That takes time. That's about a 4-week turnaround sometimes. So I think, just playing our game, staying focused. Don't forget who we are, and make sure we just keep playing our game, and that's what we have to just focus on. We cannot focus on what everybody else is doing.
Well, she bleeds blue and gray. Landstown Eagle, blue and gray. We look forward to watching the Eagles sort of new heights. Coach Blair, thank you so much. All the best.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
And we appreciate Dianna Blair for taking some time after her team's win to chat with us. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex. And as always, you can reach out to us via email at hatfieldsports@gmail.com. Schedule's going to get a little trickier for Landstown. They have Bayside and Ocean Lakes, but then they take on Salem end of the month. Beginning of the month of October will be really grueling for them as they have Kempsville, Cox, Kellum, and First Colonial consecutively. Then they take on Green Run and War Hill. I think War Hill's their final game. It's an out-of-district matchup on the road on October the 18th before our regionals get going for them. But they are the only team in Class 6, so we'll see what they do as they're trying to build for the future. They're not really a top-tier program at the moment, but you like the direction they're going to get a nice win. It was a big feather in the cap, if you will, for Coach Blair and that core. All right, we've been teasing it for a little while on our social pages. We're going to announce it here, and then it'll be up on social as well for those that did not catch this episode of the podcast, which is streaming live on our YouTube channel and also on X at 757 Sports Talk, and for the folks on Facebook too, not just the YouTube channel. It is the first edition of the Il Giardino Ristorante Chicken Parm Player of the Week. So someone's going to get a chicken parm each week, and that is just outstanding. And for that, we go to the Beach District, and none other than, you'll see it right here coming up on the screen, the Player of the Week. It is Ellis Cannon. Ellis Cannon of Kellum High School is the first edition of the Il Giardino Ristorante Chicken Parm Player of the Week. We saw her last week, the midfielder from Kellum, get 4 goals in a win over Kempsville, and she was outstanding and certainly going to be one of the best to watch all season long in the Beach District. So congrats to Ellis getting it done. Got some talented teammates around her, including the Liberty commit we spoke with in Melina Magnano. So kudos to her as she gets that honor. And many thanks to Il Giardino for that and their support. Il Giardino offers veal, seafood, chicken, pasta, vegetarian, and pizza creations that are all taste sensations. All of their sauces are made from scratch, and every item is made to order. Add in the lively sounds from the expanded piano bar and lounge, and it's no wonder why Il Giardino is such a popular local spot. To see the complete menu and find out more, including hours of operation, go check out the website at ilgiardino.com. That's ILGIARDINO.com, and give them a call at 757-422-6464. That's area code 757-422-6464. So congrats again to Ellis Cannon of Kellam High School, the Il Giardino Ristorante Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week. That makes me hungry for some chicken parm here for a late lunch or early supper for me on this Wednesday. And by the way, go pay them a visit too at 910 Atlantic Avenue in Virginia Beach. Tell them that Matt and Chuck and the good folks from Hometown Sports Productions and the Field Hockey with Hatfield show sent them your way. We're going to take one more timeout on this edition of Field Hockey with Hatfield, and we'll come back with my latest top 10 rankings. I want to hear from all you out there, where I'm right, where I'm wrong, what you agree with, what you would disagree with, all those things. Interact with us on social. I can be found on X, or at Twitter, as people still refer to it as tweeting, at Hatfield Sports, and our show page for me with our Saturday program. But you can also connect with us there at 757 Sports Talk. But leave us a comment, a note, anything you want to see or hear on the show. Suggestions, we're always open to those out there as well. But a place that keeps you fit year-round is One Life Fitness, One Inspire Life, and we'll hear from them and a few more of our sponsors before we return for our final segment on this Wednesday edition, the 20th of September, right here from the RTC and the Plex in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Sunny Virginia Beach, Virginia.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
And we're back here with Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex. Again, Virginia Beach Sportsplex website, always available at your fingertips. Go to vbsportsplex.com. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get updates on all that's going on with the action in sports at the Plex and at the Regional Training Center, whether it's soccer, field hockey, Mustangs football, Atlantic Shores football, high school football action. We've got you covered, wall-to-wall action all the time. You can watch our archive podcasts, whether it be with field hockey, whether it be with football on the hash, and then yours truly and the coach, Ed Young, each and every Saturday morning. All right, it is time now for me to give you my latest edition of the Hatfield Top 10 Field Hockey Rankings. So let's go through those and unveil them here, and it'll be up on our screen. We're going to have to count them down this time from 10 to 1. I've been going through them 1 to 10 lately, but I'm going to go from 10 to 1, surprise you all a little bit in the rankings. I'm going to go with a team that's 4-4 at number 10. And you say, well, what are you doing? They're 500. They can't be so great. Well, they got a nice 2-1 win over Pocosin, and that's York. They lost 4 games to quality, bigger schools from Northern Virginia. York is a Class 3 school. But James Madison High School, the Warhawks, W.T. Woodson from Fairfax, South Lakes in South County, some schools known more for their prowess when it comes to basketball and football. But nonetheless, they got beat 10-0 in those games. They've outscored opponents 13-2 in their other games. So with that in mind, I think York, who knocked off Pocosin 2-1, state caliber team, I like York to get that 10 spot. I'm throwing them a bone here. Don't disappoint me, Falcons, because I know it's going to get tougher for you coming up in the Bay Rivers district where you got to deal with Tab and Grafton and a number of different teams, Jamestown, that can be factors along the way. Number 9, I'm throwing another bone out there. Woof, woof, like I'm a dog. To a team that is 6-2. They lost to Norfolk Academy, which just about everybody that plays them does. They also lost to Grassfield from the Southeastern District, who could find its way in this top 10 before the season is done, and understandably so. But in their other 6 games, they've outscored the opponents 27-0, all Eastern District schools. So we're giving an Eastern District team a nice little, pick me up here. The Maury Commodores at 6-2. Overall, I'm putting them out there at number 9 as they crash the rankings, surprisingly to some and probably many, not just some. I'm putting them in there, and for good reason. 27-0 in those wins. They do have some tricky games. October 3rd at Nansemond River, October 11th against Minchville, October 17th against Great Bridge. I do not expect them to be above 500 in those 3 games, so they can prove me wrong there. And if they're 2-1 or better, they'll stay in the top 10. If they go to 1-2 or 0-3 in those games, they're likely going to fall out of the top 10. So for right now, Maury's 9, York is 10. Number 8, private school, Catholic. Give them some love. Beanie Schleicher put them on my radar in our preview show. We apologize for those that missed that muted audio part in segment 3. That was my fault there on the technical side of things. But she made some good points to them. They didn't lose to Collegiate 6-1 this week. Now, that's Collegiate out of Richmond. And if you're not familiar with them, they're number 15 in the national rankings with Max Field Hockey. There's no shame in that. So take that game away. Catholic's unbeaten. And take that game away, they've outscored their opponents 23-7. On the year, they've outscored the opposition 29-8. They're worthy of the ranking right there at number 8. And I think last week when we did the top 10 rankings, I think I had Catholic right there in that same slot. Actually, I had them number 9. So to go through last week real quickly, we went 1 to 10. Just for a second here, we had Norfolk Academy 1, Cox 2, Great Bridge 3, Gloucester 4, First Colonial 5, Nansemond River 6, Tab 7, Pocosin 8, Catholic 9, and Grafton 10. We can tell you without getting to the rest of the top 10 that there are 2 teams that fell out this week, 2 that jumped in. You just heard the 2 teams that jumped in with York and Maury. So who fell out? We'll find out here as we go from 10 to 1 here, counting them down. Number 7, they dropped a spot. They were in the top 10 last week at number 6, numero 6. We're talking about Nansemond River. I'm very high on them. They lost last year to Coxon State Championship game in Class 5. But you look at what happened here. They've lost to Gloucester and to Norfolk Academy by a total of 9 goals. And, there's no shame in losing them, but the margins discouraged me a little bit there for them. And I will tell you that at some point, they're going to need another big win to go with that win they had over Minchville earlier in the season. I think they'll get that in the Southeastern District as they move along. Great Bridge and them's always a game to circle. So we'll put Nansemond dropping down a spot to 7. Who goes up a spot to 6? It's the Tab Tigers. Wendy Wilson's got a great history there with that program. They've got a 23-1 goal margin advantage on the season as they've beaten Western Branch and they've beaten Jamestown. They had a 5-0 shutout of Grafton. I like what they're doing at 6-0 overall. Give me Tab at number 6. So here's 5 through 1. This is the really exciting part here of the top 10 countdown. So here we go. Number 5, it's First Colonial. They've got wins over Trinity, Kellam, Western Branch. We know about Grace Dixon being a standout there. They did lose to Norfolk Academy 4-1, but they're the only team I think that scored on Norfolk Academy, which is, some type of accomplishment in that respect. Now, I don't think they'll get threatened until October when they see Pocosin, who I think they'll end up beating, and Cox, their big rival. But at 4-1, FC deserves to be number 5 in the top 10 rankings. Number 4, we'll put Gloucester up there at 8-0. They have been dominant, very impressive. Are the Dukes, a 65-3 scoring margin. They've beaten Western Branch 4-2. They've beaten Nance, whatever, 4-1, 11-0 over the Landstown Eagles, 10-0 over Norfolk Collegiate. Now circle this date, September 26th, as they host Menchville, Peninsula District foe for them. That is a game to keep an eye on. Number 3, it's Great Bridge, 3-time defending state champs in Class 4, now moving up to Class 5. I think we're going to learn more about the Wildcats here in the coming weeks, if they're up to snuff as far as being a championship-level team, state tournament-level team. I think they can be. Probably keeping behind Cox as far as the favorites out of Region 5A. I'm sure they'd wish they'd be in Region 5B. But 14-0 margin so far. They've beaten Menchville, Lakeland, Grafton, Oscar Smith. Haven't been as tested yet. Not their fault. The Menchville game was the one test. 4-0, Wildcats deserving of it. They have talent. They are well-schooled and very fundamental. They're right there. And at number 2, for now, they have a chance to change this in a week plus. It's the Cox Falcons. Now, some Cox fans out there can hopefully correct me on this. I've seen 2 different records for them. I've seen 4-0. I've seen 3-0. I've seen they had a doubleheader on the same day with Cary Christian, who they beat, and Cape Henry. I've seen that the game with Cape Henry was on another date. I don't know if that was a real game, it was an exhibition, or a scrimmage. So any Cox fans out there, parents, alums, and you have a diehard fan base, I'm expecting to get a comment, a note, a tweet, a Facebook message, some type of way you can find me. It's not hard to find me. I'm all over the place in more ways than one. Please let me know if they're 4-0 or 3-0 to date. I'm sure the record's going to change anyway, but I'd like to know what the official record is to get it right for the record keeping, because I've seen it in different places, different records, and I like to be accurate with the records. So they're number 11 in the nation by Max Field Hockey. Haven't seen them up close and personal. They have so much talent with Birch and Spear and Dare and Bailey. And obviously we spoke with Pardo, and Roundtree's group doesn't blink against tough competition. They're right there. Number 1 is Norfolk Academy. They're number 3 in America. Looking forward to that game coming up a week from today at Norfolk Academy with them and Cox. That should be a real doozy, a showdown. They've beaten Nansman 6-0, Maury 11-0, FC 4-1, and Trinity 6-0. So you add it all up there, and if my math is right, and I'm not totally sure it is, you're looking at a 26-1 goal margin, something of that nature, which is just absolutely impressive and rock solid. And although she didn't get the Giardino Chicken Parm Player of the Week, Joji Purdy's going to get one. I'm pretty sure before the season's over. Probably Brooke Betancourt for that matter too. They got 2 very deserving players for not just Player of the Week, but Player of the Year, TCIS style, all-state style. I mean, going into the game with Nansman, you look at Purdy, who's committed to Penn State, already had 2 hat tricks. She got a 3rd, and she ends up with, I think, a couple more goals. I think she had 37 goals, 6 assists last year to earn first-team All-State VISAA honors. Coming into yesterday, 8 goals, 2 assists. So I think it's now 11 goals, 2 assists. May have had another assist. So she's been just absolutely on point and outstanding. So they're going to be really, really hard for anybody to beat. It's public, private, and they are worthy of all the attention and accolades coming their way for Mary Workheiser's program. And should be rather compelling to see a close game for them and Cox, because I would be very stunned if either blew the other out. I think it'll be an evenly matched game. You don't get these type of battles very often, regular season or postseason. People get looking forward to them all the time. I know rivalry games covering basketball and football and baseball, people look forward to these showdowns. We just had one on the gridiron a couple weeks ago with Maury and Highland Springs, and it lived up to the billing in a lot of ways. And I think this one will as well, between the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs and the Frank W. Cox Falcons. Want to give a shout out too before we are done on that Player of the Week photo. Big thanks to our man, Dan the Man Trevino. Dan Trevino gets a lot of awesome photos. I'm sure all the athletes can find him on Instagram. I think it's Dan T Photo, and on X or Twitter. He takes great shots. He's on Facebook. He gets galleries for anybody that needs a senior portrait out there. They want photos of their your young male, your young female, your daughter, your son, your nephew, your niece, your grandson, your granddaughter. He's the guy to hit up, because he gets awesome images all the time, and he provides and supplies us with a lot of photos on VirginiaPreps.com. If you're looking on our website, most of the great photos are not from me. It's from Dan Trevino's camera lens, or Ray Williams, or Bob Lanham. As those 3 are the very best, I think, probably in the state when it comes to giving us shots. And outstanding images. So big kudos and thanks to Dan for his help with that for our image for the Player of the Week, brought to you by Il Giardino Ristorante. So that's going to conclude this latest episode of Field Hockey with Hatfield. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Comment to us what you'd like to see us do differently as we move things along, or who you'd like to see come on the show as a guest. We're always open to any athlete or coach ideas out there for that. And we will talk to you next time from the RTC in the Plex. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.